That was Hearthstone, yeah?
Yes, I was Pull Up a Chair, the Hearthstone Theme Tune.
Right. Okay.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
Okay, cool. Right. Glad I got one right eventually. Had to sooner or later. Welcome to Bun Mash Podcast.
Rejoice!
Hey.
Hello. So we have two opposing forces of nature here that I feel are going to probably derail our podcast big time this week.
The adversary.
The two warring religious states.
The two adversaries.
Well, I'm not really on war or anything, but I think I have to defend myself against Tulkas.
He always makes this little lies about like being all Pastafarian, being a religion of tolerance, and now he isn't at war, and now it's big bad Tulkas is out there to nom his soul. But guess what? He glassed my temple. He put a giant flying spaghetti monster on my house. He said you've been touched by his newly appendages. He desecrated the image of Neil that I was so benevolent as to grace his black face of blackness with. He rotated the items in my black item frames. He hit the sacred course. What have I done? I've done nothing. I've done absolutely nothing other than say that he looks like nastiness and saying bad things about him. But you see, that's the thing that he says all.
And so it begins.
What did you say about derailing? And Tulkas, you molested my carpet in my church and
I did not,
defaced
because I gave you a gift. I gave you the chance to turn from the black.
I gave you a gift as well. It was a flying spaghetti monster.
And then I gave you the image of Neil to grace, to sanctify your image. But Pastor, I touched the beak of Polly the platypus. You have not touched the beak of Polly the platypus, so I don't think you have a rig to stand on. Because only those who have touched the beak of Polly the platypus may talk in this podcast. So there.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Polly the platypus.
Me neither, Meroka. Me neither.
Oh, good. So,
and
Tulkas is going to be talking on his own for the next 2 hours then.
Yeah, I think all the listeners out there will just think, what the actual fuck?
I've just given Tulkas a platform to rant for 2 hours straight on my channel, apparently.
Well, he actually said it was his podcast now, so it's your fault.
It is my podcast. Is it not my podcast? Does someone want to contest the ownership of this podcast with me? Because we have, I don't know what y'all do in Germany and England or whatever, but here in America, we have property rights.
Well, and
right.
There it goes. America delivers freedom.
Well, when you start paying for the server,
liberating.
When you start paying for the server and the bandwidth, you can have the podcast.
No, you pay for the server because you are my servant and I am the master. What, do you expect me to pay for my own server? Gosh, like some pleb?
Typically,
You are not allowed
yes.
to have servants who are American. Only English people have servants.
Okay. I accept that. Point taken. Point conceded.
Welcome to the podcast. In the blue corner, we have fighting for the forces of Pastafarianism. We have the Pastafarian, surprisingly enough.
Greetings!
And in the red corner, waging war upon the forces of Pastafarianism, representing Kepalism, we have Tulkas.
I take offense to the naming of the corollaries being like blue and red, because the blue and red checkered pattern is like the symbol of Neil. Like, why can't he
Just
be
take yellow then.
Yeah, he's in the yellow corner.
You don't know that, no, this is the noble sport of kings. This will be boxing. There is a red and a blue corner. There is no yellow corner in boxing.
So he's in the corner representing Neil, and I'm in the corner representing Neil, and Will's in the what color is Will in, then?
He's the referee.
Okay.
Oh,
Will. I do not trust Will to be unbiased. I contest this. I want rematch referee. No, he's biased. He's
oh God.
Yeah.
And Will's also here.
Hello.
Hello.
Maybe he's even get a say in this.
I don't think anybody gets a say in anything this week.
Except Tulkas.
Except Tulkas, who has many says in many things.
Rainbows! Tell you what, let's discuss rainbows. Pasta, what was your favorite thing about the rainbow?
I don't even know. I think we
Okay.
should talk about games.
But I like rainbows. I want to talk about rainbows.
I'm kind of on Pasta's side with this one.
Okay.
I think
Fine.
maybe we should probably talk about video games after 5 minutes.
The nerve.
I know, I wound you. Let's talk about video games. Video games and video game accessories, I believe, is the usual tagline I go with. So let's go with that. Pasta, since Tulkas is kind of not a guest anymore, I'm going to go to you as our guest. Pasta, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing several games this week. With which one do I want to start? So, after I finished Borderlands 2, I started with Borderlands the pre-sequel, which is pretty much as weird as the first and second one. So, yeah, pretty enjoyable. I have been playing Euro Truck Simulator 2 recently.
Why?
Why? Huh?
Why with the Euro Trucks?
I
I don't
don't
get
know.
that. I don't get Euro Truck.
Perhaps you can explain the repeal.
Yes. Are you?
It was for like €2 on
Oh, fair
sale,
enough.
and well, as
I
a
bought
game
many
collector,
things for more
Meroka,
than that
you
that
of
I've
all
never
people
played.
know how appealing such sales are. And
Well, yeah.
so I got it, tried it out, and it was actually kind of fun to just sit there, listen to some music, and just, well, basically hold your gamepad, and, well, most of the driving is done by automatics, I guess.
I've never bought something on Steam sale.
You just pirate every game.
No, I don't buy games. I have like 15 games. I'm not a freak like Meroka. Gosh.
To be fair, 90% of stuff is press copies that I simply straight up don't have the time to cover.
Well, I just play Hearthstone all day and that's it, so, yo.
Well, I've been doing a lot of that this week as well, but we'll get onto that one.
Yeah! Wait, really? Really?
I have actually, yeah.
Oh my god. Meroka Snuggles!
That's going a little far, I feel.
We're Hearthstone buddies now. It's like we're blood brothers, only like do da do da da do da da do da.
Yes, it's exactly like that. So Euro Truck Simulator.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Not something I would play for hours and hours, but every now and then it's kind of nice, calming, I would say.
Yeah, I'll say it seems to be one of those weird ones that everyone's like. You do occasionally get people like, I don't get simulator games, but Euro Truck Simulator 2 is kind of okay. And
Yeah,
the little I
kind of
played of
like
it, I
that.
can kind of get that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know
much
what
like
it is
that.
about it, but I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
I couldn't put my finger on it either. I couldn't say why it is calming, soothing, or whatever, but it is.
I mean, my first ever experiences with it were not great. I sort of flipped the truck several times, and ended up getting deeply in debt by getting towed back every time.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty hard at first to actually drive that truck, because you can't go too fast and yada yada. So, yeah, you have to be a bit careful.
Yeah, I think a background in like driving anything else in any other video game kind of doesn't prepare you for the caution needed in driving that. In any other game, it's like GTA. I was like, I'll just bomb down every single street, pedal to the metal. And then suddenly it's like, no, you need to cautiously and carefully drive this truck slowly along the motorway for half an hour. It's like, this is a little bit different to the standard pace.
There is one thing I really don't get. So, in England, even in France and Italy in that game, the highways or motorways are pretty well, so like two lanes wide, but in Germany only one lane in parts. So the motherland of the Autobahn, where you can drive as fast as you please, has one of the hardest streets to drive on with the truck.
Is the Autobahn not represented at all then?
You drive on the Autobahn, but I don't feel properly represented. Autobahn means you have at least 3 lanes, you can drive as fast as you please, and even trucks drive like 120 kilometers an hour. So, Yeah, and you can only drive 80 in Euro Truck Simulator, I think.
That sounds safe.
At least in Germany. In England, you can drive
Have they
60
actually-
miles per hour, which is 97 kph.
So if they've actually put a speed limit on the autobahn in game. That seems to defeat the entire point of having the autobahn.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Maybe it is something by law that trucks can't go faster than 80 kilometers an hour, but I call that as bullcrap because I've been driving on the autobahn a lot, so I know that most trucks drive around 100, 120 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, maybe that's kind of a weird discrepancy between what they're supposed to drive and what they do drive.
The maximum
That actually
speed
might
limit-
be the case as well, yeah.
Well, the maximum speed limit in Indiana is 70 miles per hour. Like, you cannot drive above that anywhere unless you're in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Oh man, that is slow as hell. I like driving my 100 miles an hour.
Well, that's because we have freedom, and you live by the tyranny of the thrill. You know what? You're like the evil society
I
in Fahrenheit
think you confused two
451.
things there, Tulkas.
You
We
know,
have
Fahrenheit
freedom.
451, that's the temperature that book paper burns at, and that's you. Because people in Fahrenheit 451, they're like all driving fast, they're like killing puppies like you do.
Did anyone get what he wanted to say?
All I got was killing puppies like you do.
Yeah, and
Mr.
I've got
Montag.
Fahrenheit 451, but we can drive as fast as we want. That is basically freedom. So
No. This is you think it's freedom, but no, they're manipulating you. They're distracting you from the vices of your world. Angela Merkel in her great icy palace of doom is manipulating you by distracting you with fast and death and everything's going too fast. You can't thought because it's just like you go like well, and like how are you supposed to contemplate the mysteries of the world when you're going at like 10 billion kilometers, like a kilometer, like really a kilometer
you get
down the
used to
highway.
it, and you can contemplate about a many lot of things while driving
A many
100
lot of
miles an
things.
hour. I can
Sure,
tell you that.
Pastor, you have fun contemplating your many lot of things. Pastor. Ugh, that pastor guy.
Well, yeah. So yeah, Euro Truck Simulator, a bit weird.
It's an acquired taste, I think, is probably what that is.
Autobahn.
Yeah, might be.
Although I think it's for a lot. I guess it's kind of the same mentality that is the reason that I kind of like Viscera cleanup detail. It's just nice to do. I don't know, something cathartic about doing a menial task, be it driving down the motorway or mopping giblets off the walls. I don't know.
Well, the last thing you said that is Viscera Cleanup Detail, and I quite like that game, especially when drunk.
Do you? Now we may differ here. It's like, in what way do you like Viscera Cleanup Detail? Are you the kind of person who fills a bucket full of entrails and pours it all over the floor to make a mess, or are you the kind of person who likes to clean?
Both things. I don't like to play it by myself, but when a few guys get together, it is quite funny. Yes, you try to clean and make the level nice, but you will fuck up at some point, so yeah.
Nope,
It gets
gotta be
quite
pristine or I'm gonna be annoyed.
Yeah, of course we get annoyed as well, but it's funny.
Maybe. I don't know, I've not actually tried it in multiplayer anyway, I just like mopping spaceships.
I did it twice in more 3 or 4 times. So 1 or 2 times with some of my friends here from Germany, and 2 times with Team Europe, which is Skeptical Squirrel, Neil Kappelmarsh, Dr. Jamie, and Mod 1982, and me. And it was just awesome.
Fair enough. I think the only time I've ever done it like for YouTube was I did one for my Patreon subscribers. Because I was in the middle of playing Spore, and I think I'd just done a fresh install of the computer, and suddenly I'd kind of lost my copy of Spore, and I was like, shit, how can I fix this? I know, I'll do Viscera Cleanup Detail instead. That's how I'll fix things. So there was just like 1 week in the middle of the Spore series, just like, hey, Viscera Cleanup Detail, guys. Makes sense, why not?
Yeah, sure, but in single player it is pretty dull.
I just kind of used it as a similar platform to the way I use Spiral Knights, which is like I know this is not interesting. It's just something to go on in the background while I talk about other shit.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's a good point.
Same kind of format as, I guess, like Farlands or Bust or mods. To go back to the topic at hand, Euro Truck Simulator
Yeah, of
series.
course. Pretty much the same.
Yep. So, and I think there was talk at one point. It was like we, not necessarily us, but like I think it was Alzarath was looking at saying, "Hey, we should do like a Viscera cleanup podcast." I wish that had happened. That would have been fun.
Podcast?
Yeah, it's just like us talking about shit while mopping a spaceship. Why not?
Yeah, I can see that work, but you will get distracted a lot.
Well, yeah, probably. Like, I guess again, I think it depends on the kind of people. I think Al said he was kind of, he's the sort of person who just sits and mops a spaceship for an hour and can be quite happy just mopping the floor.
Yeah, that might be the case. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Does Viscera Cleanup Diesel have like a shank mechanic? Like
no,
stabbing?
but sometimes because of glitches and I don't know what else, you can kill people.
Okay,
So
so
it's got a pretty
I'm down for this. As long as we can get Pasta in on that podcast, I'm down to have the podcast there. Yeah.
I feel like he's got a pretty well established shank mechanic. You knock over my bucket full of entrails and I shank you.
There, see? So that can be, yeah.
I guess on a
let's do
plane,
it.
fly
I like
to
this idea.
Indiana, and I find you and I shank you. It's simple enough.
Simple enough.
Yay, Indiana. Back home again in Indiana. And it seems
We
that
already
I can
had the
see
theme song.
the gleaming candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. The new moon, hay, and all its fragrance in the field I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, then I long for my Indiana home.
Welcome to Tulkas the Valiant sing-along podcast.
You should do subtitles on
We need
this
little,
particular
yeah,
one,
we
so
need like
everybody
karaoke
can sing
lyrics at the
along.
bottom. Just little bouncing balls so people know where
Yes,
to sing along.
yes,
Yeah.
of course.
It's a state song of Indiana, man.
It sounds weird.
And
No,
now
it's well. So you say Pasta. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. You're wrong. You're wrong about everything, Pasta.
I don't think so, but oh well.
It does sound like something that belongs more in a musical than some sort of, sort of regional anthem, I would have said.
Well,
Well, maybe that was the
can sing
delivery.
Musicals too. Do you want me
Well,
to sing
we
musicals?
have
No,
some things
no.
like this in Germany as well, especially with the city of Cologne, which has roughly, I think, 1,000 songs describing how, well, beautiful and I don't know what else Cologne is. It's very weird.
Yay,
Jesus
patriotism.
Christ, superstar.
No,
That
no,
is something
cuts,
entirely
cuts,
different.
cuts. No musicals. No, all musicals stop. Video games. If you have a musical video game, we can talk about that. But otherwise, no. I don't think they made a video game out of Jesus Christ Superstar yet.
Someday, man. Someday.
Let me look there. Is there an equivalent for Rule 34 in video games, though?
In what? If you can imagine it, there's a video game of it. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes.
I didn't know if you're going straight into porn there for some reason.
I just know that there is a thing like Rule 34, but is there an equivalent for video games?
Not that I've heard of, but it probably holds fairly reasonably true when you consider just like indie game development and game jams and things,
Yeah.
and the sheer amount of teams that will put out endless amounts of products each year, just even just on a hobbyist level. It's like, yeah, I'm going to make this game in this weekend, and then next weekend they'll be like, oh, we'll make another game. If you look in that kind of scene, they're not going to be good games by and large, but chances are there probably is something. Just go browse
same would go
itch.io.
for Rule 34, I think. Might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on, indeed.
Yeah, so Minecraft I've played last week, GeoGuessr and Town of Salem,
The staples, indeed.
which is pretty much a weekly thing. And I have played In Verbis Virtus. I think I've talked about this a great bit on the last podcast I was on.
I believe you mentioned it. Yeah, how are you finding that?
It's very cool. So I'm doing a let's play of it, but I'm pre-recording everything, so I'm still doing that. I think I've got 9 episodes now. And the game mechanic basically is you have to actually pronounce your spells. So I have to use my microphone all of the time. I have to press the right mouse button, then speak the spell and release it. And if I pronounced it correctly, the spell is released, and sometimes it will do something completely different, even if I spelled it correctly.
Right.
So there is one spell for shooting fireballs, for example, and I had an enemy in front of me, so I wanted to shoot a fireball, and instead it did something completely different with a completely different spell which sounds nothing alike.
Nice.
So I had something like the Lumos from Harry Potter going on, so a light in my hands, while the enemy was charging at me. Not a nice thing. And then if you are panicking and trying to to cast that spell again, it gets pretty funny, because you get hectic and you, of course, don't succeed in casting the spell.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I did that more than a few occasions during There Came an Echo. It was like, yeah, it's in any kind of voice command situation, it's like, if the first one sort of fizzles and you do it wrong, suddenly it's like, and I'm even more imminently about to die, and I need to desperately make sure that the game recognizes this correctly.
Yep, exactly.
There Came an Echo kind of berates you if you do it wrong, though, quite a lot. It's like, if you speak too quickly or slowly or don't understand, it's like, no, stop, calm down, we can't understand you. Please speak slow and clearly and make sure we know what you're saying. It's like, if you'd done it right first time, I wouldn't have to.
But remember that sick, whatever the name was, like the person responded better to Tulkas than to sick. Silt. Was it Silt or Selk?
Sil. It was just Sil.
Yeah, Sil, yeah. Sil went by Tulkas better than by Sil, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I say Sil weirdly or something, but apparently every time I tried to tell Sil to do anything in the game was just like, nope. Could you repeat that? I'm like, Sil, go here. No, Sil, go here. And of course, the more frustrated you get, the worse it gets as well, because you're going, Sil, go here, Sil, go here, and suddenly you're not delivering it clearly, and the game's getting more and more annoyed at you. Eventually, I was just like, Tulkas, go here, and he just does it.
Yeah, same was with one of the spells called Ectolume. And so I was going Ectolume. Oh, it didn't work, although I pronounced it correctly. Okay, let's do again. The enemies draw closer. Ectolume, 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 Ectolume. Yeah. And then I die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty fun indeed. And it's basically a first-person puzzle game. The enemies are not really that much of an issue.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of interested in the combat, because the last demo I played of it, the last sort of preview build they sent me, didn't have any combat in it.
It's not really combat. You have to cast your spells, so you can you have those fireballs are like fire bombs you can stick to the ground. So if you see an enemy standing somewhere, you can cast that firebomb onto him, but you have to cast at least 3 of those onto him and then explode them to actually kill that thing. And there was one room where I had to get the enemy into a room to actually jail it in there. And that was hard as hell, because they were quite fast and they will follow you, and when you first encounter them, it is a little bit frightening. So I jumped on video. Right.
Nice.
Yeah, that... I think I even screamed. I don't know. It was just so surprising at the moment. Although it didn't pop up like an alien in Alien Isolation or something. No, it was just standing there, and I just noticed it. That was it. But I got so surprised and frightened, I really jumped and screamed a bit. So, yeah.
Oh well, that gets you YouTube views. That's what people like.
We'll see. We'll see when it airs. Yeah, but I can really recommend that game. It is very nicely done, and with the game mechanic of actually casting your spells by speaking those, it's a very good thing.
I'd kind of be intrigued to see it again, but last time I played it, I just didn't get a good vibe from it. The first time I played it, I was like super impressed by it. The second time when they sent me a sort of a later update build, it was just like the game just didn't sort of feel intuitive. There was like a lot of backtracking and stuff hidden down.
Yeah, that is actually right.
In a dark corridor, there'll be like another dark corridor off to the side that's like super important, and if you miss the dark corridor within the dark corridor, you just can't progress, and there's lots of backtracking back and forth, until you're like, oh shit, there's a thing there that I'm supposed to do, and you suddenly find there's like, it branches out into this entire separate room where there's another spell that you need to advance a puzzle elsewhere, and you're like, that was
sometimes
super frustrating.
Happens. That is right. Although there isn't as much backtracking as there was, I think. So it's gotten a little bit more linear, although you have to go in certain rooms to get the spells to proceed. But I think it's easier than in that old builds.
It's just, if they just made it a little more obvious that there was something there, it's like, stick a freaking torch on the wall or something so we know there's a corridor there, makes it easier. Just make it a lot easier.
There are torches everywhere, so in the first bit there is a dark corridor, and when you run towards it you will fall to your death, because there is just a narrow path, and you have to get the light spell first.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, I haven't had a real dark corridor. What I had, though, was a level with a kind of a labyrinth where I had to go somewhere, and I was constantly losing hit points. And I had to heal myself every now and again, and there were enemies, and it was quite an obnoxious bit.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I've seen that bit.
It's a little bit later in the game, so I think the second or third level. Maybe.
Well, I was going to say it would have been a while back when they sent me it, so God only knows what's changed since then. It sounds like they may well have done a lot of good stuff with it since then, but yeah, just the last time I touched that game, it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was just like, I was excited for this, and all of a sudden this kind of build where I'm really frustrated, all this backtracking and not being able to find things and stuff just not working quite right. That just kind of just left me feeling like I'm not so keen to play this anymore.
Yeah, maybe they tried to stretch the game to a certain length by doing so, like they did in the old point-and-click adventures. They also had to do loads and loads of backtracking, and through that the game became very long.
Right,
but
still,
without the backtracking, I think within Verbis Virtus, you get a good bit of gameplay for your money.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
Banished. I have played quite a bit in the last few weeks.
Is that also the city builder thingy?
Yeah, the city builder thingy. I have watched some footage of, well, let's say an old YouTube friend of mine, and he does it with fast forwarding, and I just do it in normal time, which is pretty darn slow, and I listen to podcasts while doing so. It is also quite soothing and calming. Not so fast-paced, just nice little thing to calm down, I guess.
I was under the impression that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and I'm pretty sure it is, isn't it supposed to be like super unforgiving if you don't make the right decisions, like several seasons in advance to prepare your town for the hardships of like the winter ahead.
Oh,
you just like everybody just dies, and it's like game over.
Yeah,
you didn't
I haven't played
from,
on hard.
spring.
I just play on normal, but yeah. So you should go ahead and build houses very early and get loads and loads of food, and build even more houses early so you get enough children, which you will need in about 10 years. So yeah, you have to think ahead quite a bit. But if you've played it several times, it gets easier because you know what to do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But still, because it doesn't proceed overly fast, you get enough time to actually make the decisions.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it sounds like my kind of city builder, to be honest. I kind of just like stuff like city skylines where you can just sort of build whatever the heck you like, and yeah, there are crises that come up, but it's nothing you can't really manage.
Well, you can build what you want in Banished, you just have to get the resources. You don't
Well, and
have
that's
to
yeah,
build
but
in
if
a certain order.
Yeah, no, but as I say, it's kind of a sort of harsher penalty for not doing the right thing, whereas City Skylines, literally the only thing you can do that's really going to screw up is like if you pump the sewage straight into the water supply or something.
Okay, yeah.
That's about the worst thing that you can do in Skylines, and then everything else is just like, yeah, as long as everything's pretty okay, everything's pretty okay. Your entire town isn't just going to die out because you had a bad winter or something.
Yeah, it can be quite challenging, that is right. Oh well. Yeah, one last game I've played, which is Sentinels of the Multiverse. Anybody know that video game, or even the board game?
I have heard of it. I'm not really familiar with it.
So basically, I've got the board game since Christmas. My brother bought it for me. I've got all the expansions now because it is an awesome game, and I brought it with me when I visited England last week and played it with Maud, Squeezy, and a few other guys, and they were hooked at it quite fast as well, and so we all got the video game. And it is quite well done, so they took the board game 1-to-1, and it's very well done. You can even learn some new things about the rules, and it's basically a superhero versus villain game. The board game you play cooperatively, so every hero teams up and fights one villain in an environment where the environment has certain effects to the heroes and villain. And the goal is just beat the villain and don't die, which is more challenging than it sounds. And right now it is single player only, unfortunately. So you get to play 4 heroes at the same time, which is a little bit weird, to be honest. But the developers actually are working with priority 1 on multiplayer. So we are very much looking forward to that. And we can actually play that through Steam and get a bunch of guys together.
Yeah, I was thinking that sounded quite entertaining. Steam says it's got local co-op.
Well, if by local co-op you mean 3 to 5 people teaming up at one PC.
Yeah, I think that's at the same PC.
That is pretty much what the local co-op is, because you see all the card decks of all the heroes, and you go through them on your screen. That is pretty much all there is to the co-op you can do. And yeah. The thing is, there is even a 4-pack or a 5-pack you can buy, and right now it's pretty much a scam because you can't.
Yeah, that sounds kind of weird. Yeah, buying a 5-pack of a single-player game. That's bizarre.
Exactly. And that is the only thing all the reviewers have in common when saying they don't recommend that game. I think other than that, it has a quite high rating. Let me actually look where it is. Store page.
It is 95% positive. Yeah, it's been very well
exactly. Only 151 reviews, but
of those,
the
seven
first
negative.
review is needs multiplayer now. Otherwise, that 5-pack option is a root trap. And yeah, he's quite right with that.
Yeah, I guess they kind of sell. I guess they're selling that in anticipation of it being online multiplayer. But yeah, the sensible decision would have been to just implement that as an option after they'd implemented the online multiplayer.
I think because that game, the board game, was actually funded through Kickstarter and isn't that old. They got some expansions out through, I think this year even. And I think they wanted to jump on that train to get a little money out with the video game as well. And the developers announced that multiplayer beta will start in August, so in a few weeks.
Okay.
And we are pretty pumped for that.
That does sound like quite a cool concept, actually. I'm quite intrigued by that.
Yeah, and I think we will make it a series even, to begin with, so that will be quite cool.
Cool.
Yeah, and
Alrighty.
I think that's pretty much it, what I played last week.
Yeah, shall we wake one of these two up?
Yeah.
Because I think they're both fallen asleep.
I think we should start with Will, because Tulkas got a saying already.
Oh, it's so. Oh, I had such a great dream. I dreamed that Pastor was talking, and his voice lulled me to sleep. Oh.
Well, thank you very much, Tulkas. Much obliged.
Okay.
And he
Will-
drowsed off again. Okay, Will, your
Apparently,
turn.
it's on you.
Well, I again only Dirty Bomb this week, exclusively. No
Wow.
sleep, no nothing, just work and Dirty Bomb.
Okay.
That sounds devastating, to be honest.
Have you unlocked all the characters yet?
No, I unlocked Proxy. I earned Proxy.
I like that. You've played nothing but Dirty Bomb all week, even foregoing sleep, and you've unlocked one character. That
Yeah.
suggests that maybe they could probably stand to fine-tune the progression system a little bit.
Or maybe I'm just really bad at this game.
Well, little column A, little column B.
I like to think I'm pretty good, actually.
At this point, I would hope you might be.
In the beginning, I was like, my death count was through the roof. Now it's kind of on par with my kill count, so I'm
Okay.
improving. So yeah, I've mostly been playing Proxy this week because she is my favourite. Because she lays down C4 really, really fast, and she fixes EVs really, really fast, which is most of every mission.
Yep. Objectives are kind of core to it all.
And she disarms it really fast, so she's a pretty important character, I think.
Well, so there are a few engineers, though. She's not the only one that does that.
No, she's not the only one, but she has a shotgun, and I appreciate a good shotgun.
Okay, right. Fair enough.
Depends on the game, though.
Yeah. They're not brilliant in terms of the whole game. They're not entirely effective. You could be slightly to the left of somebody and think, oh yeah, I'm really going to hit them because it's a shotgun, and then nope. You have to be quite accurate with the shotguns.
Yeah, I'm probably not accurate enough. At first I was like, these shotguns are awful, then I just kind of gave up and started using characters that didn't have them. So, yay. Still, not that I've played anything of it, but Sparks, yeah. SMG and bring people back to life without being anywhere near bullets. That works for me.
That's helpful. I haven't played Sparks since she went off the free rotation. I'm not that enthralled by her.
Well, yeah, healing is not necessarily for everyone. It's just like, I don't know, for some reason I have gravitated towards healing in a lot of games, and it's kind of, I can get behind that.
I've had to play healing characters to get all the support XE for the objectives.
Yeah.
And Aura's kind of grown on me a little bit.
Aura's not a bad character at all, no.
I could see why Sparks would be better, be able to revive people from a distance, but she's not on the free rotation anymore, so...
I don't know that it's necessarily better, because obviously I think everything's kind of designed as a side grade. I mean, everything's designed to be equally competitive in that. And Aura's real strength is just the healing. Aura shouldn't have to pick people up off the floor as much as Sparks does, but Sparks' actually healing the people is fucking awful.
Yeah.
By comparison, at least in my experience. Her real talents is just like when people die, she can get them back up with very little effort, whereas Aura has to run into a hail of gunfire to pick people up. So it's better if they don't die in the first instance, and she's way better at making sure that they're the most equipped they can be to go in and not die. The actual Aura healing thing is pretty damn good.
Yeah, because she's got the health station as well, and that has been quite pivotal for the games that I played with her.
I think it's just a little too hands off for my tastes. Just coming from a playing TF2 and medic background, I like having the beam of healing that you can just point at a person who's like, you be healed now, rather than just I'm going to put this here and you guys use it if you want. I don't know, whatever.
My usual tactic is to plant a healing station next to one of the turrets, because I have a 50% cooldown rate on turrets with that particular aura.
Right.
So I just plant myself next to a turret and fire all the bullets.
I think they have
Everybody.
the same loadout, actually, yes, or a very similar one, because I've used that technique with myself in the past before I bought Sparks. It was like, I'm just going to stay here and mow you all down whilst being healed all the time.
Yep. It's
Not a bad strategy.
Unfortunately, she doesn't have enough health to make it last forever, but
No.
I suppose balance.
But you do have a really, really big gun at that point. So.
Yeah. And it doesn't heat up too quickly, so...
So you just mow people down before they can kill you in an ideal world?
Exactly. It's particularly effective in the chapel. I like that level.
Right, yes, yeah. I was just trying to think which one that one is.
That's quite possibly my favourite level.
It's a good level. I do like that one. I'm not, maybe not so much a big fan of the end of it. The last bit of it's a bit meh. But...
Oh yeah, delivering the EMPs. I still don't know how EMPs physically blow up a building, but you know.
That was an interesting one.
That doesn't sound entirely realistic.
The attacking team has to deliver 2 payloads of EMPs to a very tall building, and when you do, it explodes. I don't know how
Is
that
it
works.
a nuclear bomb, maybe, and not an EMP?
It specifically says EMP, and moreover, you'd have thought one would do the job.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an EMP. Oh damn! This EMP didn't quite didn't knock out enough electronics. Let's use another. What?
Yeah.
That's a weird one. That mission would just like make a lot more sense if they just called it a bomb. Just through and through, it's just like deliver. It's like, oh, 1 bomb isn't enough to blow it up, but 2 will do the job. Okay, great, yeah, I can deal with that. And then the building explodes.
Clearly, there is so much explosive already in the building that there's some kind of electronic device that's stopping it from exploding.
The electronic surge that goes through all the electronics in the building as the EMP hits them, and it requires two EMPs to provide enough charge. That surge fries the electronics, creates a lot of sparks, and blows up all the explosives that are already in the building. That's it. Got it.
Nailed it.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know how I'm still entertained by this game because it's so repetitive. I think just
more
need
maps would
to
be
be
good, but
numbed.
more maps would definitely add a lot of variety to it, but they are huge, and I can imagine it would take a lot of work to make one map in that.
Yeah, because they are very well structured. I love that there's several different routes to different destinations in them. There's like little secret ways that I still am discovering.
Yeah, I mean to use the obvious and inevitable and frequent TF2 comparison. TF2 only had 6 maps in the game when it's launched. Last time I remember hearing anyone mention map count, which was quite a while ago, it was about 40 maps now, I think, in TF2.
Official maps, that is.
A lot of them are community made.
Yeah.
So,
But implemented officially.
Yes, community made, but implemented by Valve. Yes.
I think, pretty much the same goes for Counter-Strike Global Offense.
All right.
They have a lot of community-made maps, and they change every now and then with new skin packs and whatnot. I
don't know that they were doing that. I knew they did a lot of cosmetics. I didn't realize. I guess I never really looked into Counter-Strike too much.
Yeah, it's mostly cosmetics, but people get very weird when it comes to Counter-Strike Global Offense. So if you want to buy a knife skin, I think it starts with 50 quid. Or a knife skin, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes up as high as 300 euros for a knife skin on the Steam market. And people buy that.
Just as a confirmation on the TF2 side of things, there are over 80 maps in TF2. What? Oh, Christ. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
That is indeed ridiculous.
That's just nuts. That's what happens when you outsource your entire game development process to volunteers, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad business model if you can get away with it.
Yeah.
So maybe Dirty Bomb needs to start asking people to make maps for them. Because I'm sure they would find some takers.
Well, from the looks of it, there's more characters on the way, and it wouldn't surprise me if there were more maps as well.
I would hope so.
And they've just this week implemented competitive mode, which I've played a few rounds of it. I don't quite know how it differs from regular objective mode.
Right. Okay.
It feels the same. It operates the same.
Fair enough.
They were doing a test of it, I think, the week before, and I played it, and it was literally like, as soon as you die, that's it, you're out of the match. But it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment.
Okay. I know in terms of new maps, last time I played, there was at some point they had a sort of a beta of a map available for kind of testing purposes, and I kept putting it in the rotation because by default, when you went into the matchmaking, they left it out of the rotation, so you didn't come up. So I always checked it as like, yeah, I want to try this map. Let me. I don't think it ever match-made me on that one. I don't think it ever found a server that was running that map, so I don't think I ever did get a chance to see that one. But I guess they must be working on something.
I don't know.
So yeah,
I know that the first competitive match that I played the other week, it was literally all the buildings had no texture. It was just all unskinned environment.
Oh right. Weird.
I don't know what they've done with that map.
Gone and given it to an artist to work on, presumably.
Well, hopefully. It was an entertaining game.
All right, Tulkas, wake up and tell us some stuff.
From east to west, heroes are set. Seeking glory in the greatest of events. There are knights and noble steeds as would bring them to their knees. There are monsters who test their mettle at every turn. Legends will rise based on their merit. There's even pirates riding parrots. It's the grand tournament. Da, 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 da. Yay! So we can bring you some exclusive button mash intro. That the new card is just revealed like today. It's called Coliseum Manager, and it's a 3-mana 2/5 with Inspire. Return this minion to your hand, and it looks crap. Yay! But yeah, we have all the new cards, all the new cards everywhere. We have it's because the new, I guess I should perhaps explain what this all is. You see, it's the Grand Tournament, which is a new expansion for Hearthstone. We had Curse of Noxramas, and then Goblins and Gnomes, and then Black Rock Mountain, a Hearthstone adventure. Now we have the Grand Tournament. Da, 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 da. And this is apparently based on some tournament from World of Warcraft, where everyone was all like, "Hey Arthas, yo boy, we gotta get tournament to go Kapui." And then they're like, "Yeah, Kapui," and apparently Jiraxis got involved at some point. You face Jiraxis. Erda Lord of the Burning Legion. Yay! So what is your opinion, Meroka?
I'm allowed to talk, am I? Do I have permission?
Yes, I officially grant you permission to speak.
I heard two different things about what this was. I mean, I missed the announcement. I was doing something else more important, probably, at the time. I thought it was a Goblins versus Gnomes style thing, but then I was watching a video earlier that someone was like, "Oh yeah, no, it's going to be one of these kind of raid ones, and there's going to be bosses and things." Or is it both? Are they doing both with it, or is it just?
I think
which way
it's
does
just,
this work?
I mean, I think it's just Goblins and Gnome style.
Just the card packs, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this. I haven't heard what you heard, but all I heard would lead to it just being
the person I heard
GVG.
it from is not known for their knowledge and expertise within Hearthstone.
Oh,
so
well. Yeah,
they were just delivering the news, and I was like, that's not the news that I heard, but okay.
I mean, it would make sense for a tournament to be an adventure, rather than just Goblins versus Gnomes. It's just Goblins versus Gnomes. How do you do that? You just fight Goblins or whatever. But it doesn't make sense since apparently it's based on an actual raid with Lord Jiraxis or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting.
My personal thoughts is they seem to have based it on one of probably the least interesting things in World of Warcraft that there was. So it's based on the Argent tournament, which was one of the kind of later updates to Wrath of the Lich King, and I think within lore terms, it was basically like, oh yes, we're going to have a tournament of all the nation's greatest warriors and knights and things, and everyone's going to come together and compete. We're going to find the greatest warriors in the realm so that we can figure out who's going to go kill Arthas and become a Lich King and whatnot and stuff. And it was just pretty boring.
Oh, well, it sounds
It
cool
was
to
not
me,
terribly
but whatever.
interesting.
I know my Warcraft lore, so I think that's cool. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Obviously the fourth expansion since vanilla. I mean, so far we only have 25 out of 132 cards revealed, so there's a lot left to discover. But then again, we thought that with Blackrock Mountain. Like, the thing about Blackrock Mountain is that I would say the Blackrock Mountain failed. Because, like, the whole, like, thing, like, the theme of Blackrock Mountain was Dragon Synergy, but, like, Dragon Synergy, like, didn't work. Like, we have Fringe Malagoth Rogue or, like, a Fringe Dragon Warrior deck, but besides those, the only things to come out with Blackrock Mountain was, like, a buff to Zoo and Emperor Thor through Ampik Angoss, and then Emperor Thorazon, and then of course the incredibly broken Grim Patron deck, which has been like the top of the meta for the past 2 months. But sort of like in a way that failed, and like the thing about like the Grand Tournament is that it's very much trying even more than you'd think that like dragons, all like big slow cards, you'd think that would be slow, but this seems to be even more slow because the big mechanic here is Inspire, which gives you like a benefit or whatever, like whenever you use your hero power. And like hero powers are like really slow. And like I'm not sure that again, it's possible that they make some sort of OP card with Inspire or whatever, but from what I've seen so far, there doesn't look anything really powerful. Like there's Just Go True Heart, for example, which replaces your starting hero power with a better one, to basically generally speaking double the hero power, but it's like a 6/3 for 6, pretty bad. There's like Sky Captain Crag, which is a pirate riding parrot. Meroka, tell us about Sky Captain Crag. Who is he?
I was going to say that well, first and foremost, I have no fucking clue who he is. All I know is he's a pirate riding a parrot, and that is the most important thing of this entire update. But I have no idea. I have no idea what the lore background of this particular character
is.
I've
What about
never
you,
heard
Will?
of him
Do you
before in
know
my life.
Will?
I do not.
Oh, well, one of these days I'm going to learn to stop trusting you. But yeah, this is the new expansion, so get your hype. The hype is teal.
So this is obviously pirate synergy, which makes the pirate deck the new meta, and it's going to be the best. Probably.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like a very good card actually. If you get the thing is that it requires you. For its cost reduction mechanic, it's a 4/6 for 7 with charge.
Can we please observe that it's not merely charge. Every other card in the game just has a charge. This doesn't have a charge. It has a charge.
Yeah, it has a charge. The ironic thing that there's actually the South Sea Deckhand, better known as Haha, who also has charge, but he doesn't have charge. He only has charge. It's lame. But I mean, for the cost reduction effect to matter, maybe be a 4/6 for 5, that means that you need to have 2 pirates on your board on turn 5, which means that your enemy has not killed your pirates, but your enemy is going to try to kill your pirates because pirate synergy is a thing, and you want to kill the pirates. So it just doesn't seem like it's very likely that you can actually get pirates to stick for your turn. And then
I don't think many people are going to work on the assumption that you're running Sky Captain Crag, though.
Well, pirate decks are not played. I've seen people get to.
Well, they should be because they're pirates.
Yeah, well, I've heard some famous streamers get to Legend with pirates, but in the competitive scene, pirate deck is very much a fringe. So I think it would be safe to assume that if you are playing pirates, then you would play, the pirate legendary, and if I mean, even if you aren't, then it would be still worth it to kill them because, the South Sea Captain, whatever, could come in and buff. Whatever, it's a board control game. But bear in mind, people, that Meroka is the one who famously decided to Iceland's face on, turn 3 when he had nothing else to do, thinking that it did 4 damage. So,
I
Yeah.
don't play mage normally.
Well, it's like you don't like. I've been thinking like it's just like just because you can play a card doesn't mean you should play a card, and yeah, it's like but like I don't know. That's just like that's the thing that like I'm trying to explain like why that's a bad play. It's like I know this like a really terrible play, but I can't think of why. It's my intellect fails me once again. Tell you what, Pasta, you know absolutely nothing about about Hearthstone, but you're good at like explaining things, like how you have this whole rhetoric about how you're somehow this victim of Keppelite aggression or whatever. Like you're good at being eloquent. Explain this to Meroka.
What shall I actually explain?
Explain to him why I'm like doing an Iceland or a Holy Smite or a Frostbolt or whatever. I'm like when your enemy is like at full health, like turn 3. Explain to him rather than like using it on the minion or whatever. Explain to him why that's bad.
I can't really imagine why that's bad.
No, that's the thing that like you use your
See,
evil
there's no good
eloquence.
reason. It was totally a reasonable play.
I would try to kill off my enemy, so I would play
Exactly.
something to damage him.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay. Well, so
That's
Pasta's-
pretty much how I would roll with every card game.
Thank you, voice
well,
of
I guess
reason.
this is why you
Pastafarian.
don't play card games, isn't it? It's just
I do.
I mean,
It's called Sentinels of the Multiverse.
well, bet you're not good at it then.
Wow.
Ooh, shots fired. But yeah, like even if you did have enough spell damage to like be conceivably able to kill him and have it not matter in the minion trading, you'd still want to save it just because like being able to burst down, like then it would be a surprise and I wouldn't be able to heal out of the range or whatever. But like yeah, it's just because like think about it, like if you like use that 4 damage to kill like a spider tank or whatever, and like that spider tank could deal 3 damage to me, 3 damage to me, 3 damage to me. Well, I mean 3 damage to you, 3 damage to you, 3 damage to you, and then suddenly it's just like 9 damage, but you could have killed it with this ice lance, and then like it's 9 damage or 6 damage, or maybe you kill that spider tank with like a injured blade master, say, but then like that injured blade master itself could have then survived to done 8 damage, so like you've wasted 4 damage when you could have done 8 damage. See what I'm saying? Like minion trading is important in Hearthstone. Hearthstone is a minion trading game. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I have much left to say about the grand tournament. But
Let's talk about the Tavern Brawl instead.
All right, the Tavern Brawl. Whee!
This was pay to win this week. Let's be honest. This was pay to win week.
Surprisingly, not really, and I'm impressed that you played it. But yeah, Tavern Brawl. First of all, I'll talk about what the Tavern Brawl was. It was at the start of your turn. You have 10 mana, so like players
every turn 10
mana. 1
mana,
mana. You like now you'll have like 10 mana always, which obviously like tilts it very much in favor of the big legendary deck, which is obviously what I played with the my beloved Golden Swagalicious Priest.
And everybody who threw hundreds or thousands of dollars at the game also played all legendary decks as well. Yes.
Well, not. It was interesting because, like, for the first, 2 days, I actually played, 25 games in Tavern Brawl. I had fun slacking people with my giant legendaries. But, in the beginning, it was all giant legendaries fighting off against each other. Then, an interesting metagame developed where, you had some Shaman Burst combos, and you also had, a ton of Murloc Shaman and Murloc Warlock just happening. So it wasn't... It was because, those decks, you could, play, 4 Murlocs in one turn. How do you kill that? You don't. It was just it was surprisingly not entirely a legendary brawl. Yeah. But yeah, I had fun. I guess I'll talk about my favorite experiences. Well, Total Biscuit had a famous game in which he got 6 Kel'Thuzad's, but my
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
it was glorious. But let's see, my 2 favorite moments from Tavern Brawl. First of all, I was fighting Matt in the Hat, and I recorded a video. Matt in the Hat didn't upload it on his channel, both because his recording failed and also because he sort of didn't do well in the Tavern Brawls. At the board, when it became my turn, okay, he had an Alex Draza with 3 health and a Kel'Thuzad, and I had a Sylvanas. So then I used it was my turn, and I used my Sylvanas to kill his Kel'Thuzad, to kill his Alestraza, stealing his Kel'Thuzad, which I then copied twice, and then I got 3 Sylvanas back. It was glorious, man. It was glorious. it was, or maybe it was two Sylvanas. Anyway, it was just like all the Sylvanas, and it was just like I just like swacking down with like 3 Sylvanas. It was wonderful. Yeah, that was fun. And then after that, after we had done doing the Tavern Brawl, then I treated him to a game with of the mech Hunter I talked about last week. Only apparently watching the Button Mash podcast is like the national pastime of North Carolina. So he'd heard about me talking about it on the podcast, and then it ruined my surprise. Gosh, Meroka, gosh. And then the other fun moment that I had in the Tavern Brawl with I was facing a Murloc Warlock. At turn 1, I played Foe Reaper 4000, and then turn 2, I played again. I copied that for Reaper 4000, who was just like swacking down 6 Murlocs a turn. It was little frogs. It was glorious. He just like kept like spamming the board. I'd be like, nope, nope, no. It was glorious. What comments do you have, loyal Button Mash podcast fellows?
I played until I got a card pack. I opened my card pack. Didn't get anything of note because I can't remember what it was, and that was my Tavern Brawl for the week.
And what about you, Will? What did you think?
No brawls were in my tavern.
Okay,
Unfortunately.
I said the wrong terms. Okay, instead of saying what did you think, I should say what do you think?
I have no opinion on this game.
Man, well, you have no creativity.
I have played it, but I'm not captivated by it.
But you should just do what I do when you get confused. Just make random noises at the camera.
He's not even recording it. He was just talking about just playing it here.
Yeah, well...
There's no camera to make noises at.
No, well, yes there is. It's the Meroka camera in the Meroka studios.
Yes, obviously.
Like for the
Meroka has a camera in my bedroom.
We're recording podcast? Yeah.
Well, not that you know about.
Ooh, tell you what, Matt in the Hat, I know you watch this since this is apparently a thing you do. Tell Meroka why his Iceland play was bad. Yeah, good. That's Hathaway the smart one. Yeah. And also tell Pastafarian, because Pastafarian is complicit in the lies. No, I suppose since no one else
Pastafarian is a grand strategist like myself.
And now, since I suppose, do you have anything to add, Pasta?
I have nothing to add because I play none of those games.
I didn't think so.
And
so
I don't know anything about those, so yeah.
It's one game, Hearthstone. It's a good game, I like. Now let's move on to the next great discussion topic, which is, I'm going to tell a story now entitled Jax and the Great Turkey Adventure.
Please don't.
Once upon a time, there was a man named Jax, and he had a turkey. And though those two, they were thick as thieves, bonded in the fires of Mount Doom. And then one day they said, this guy Will here, oh.
And there the story ends, apparently.
I think an anonymous walrus just deleted my story.
Well...
I hate you, anonymous walrus, I hate you. Bad anonymous walrus. Fine, so let's... Well, Jackson, I can't tell the story anymore. It's just, I'm anonymous walruses. That's the thing about walruses. They're the worst. Like, not only was it a walrus, it was anonymous. Okay.
Anonymous walrus is saving us from
okay?
Tulkas one story at a time.
The little Tulka who stayed vigilant. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a Tulka. Only this Tulka was not a Holka. This Tulka was a mini Holka. And he was very vigilant, and then he died. Now let's finally move on to our final topic of the day, Pasta Hate. Or at least that was going to be what I was going to talk about.
Do I get to talk about any games today?
I think we adequately covered that in the intro. So I think, do I have anything left to say, Meroka?
I hope not.
Okay, tell you what, Pasta, make up something for me. Tell me a word, Pasta. Give me a word.
Thank you, Pastor. So I've been playing this week.
Okay, silence. Okay, now the thing about silence is like it's the absence of noise. And the thing about being silent is like, you can't talk, and that's sort of like a big barrier to communication. Because, you look back at like what humans, they first began to walk in the savannah of Africa. What elevated us above the other primates was our ability to communicate, to vocalize, to make words. And I think that Pasta's reference here was to this great, sort of like what has bonded us together as a species and enabled us to overcome all the obstacles that have been put in place. As the anonymous walrus has written, we have, in a word, in all capital letters, we have silence. And now I will allow us to enjoy, just sort of like,
Can you let us appreciate what silence is?
The glory of silence. Just
That'd be really nice.
so that we can know what our ancestors felt before they first, first man said the first word. Let's just sort of emphasize that experience, and let us bond, and let us fall silent. And like we're going to be silent for a long time here, for a lot of silence, starting in 3, 2, 1, silence.
Thank you. Okay. Can I talk now? Am I allowed? Yay. Okay. I played Zenzi Zenzik, which is a game that I was sent a preview of this like over a year ago now. I'd forgotten that was a thing that existed, and then it came out last week. I think we looked at it in the releases, actually, possibly. So I got a copy of that, and they added a roguelike mode to it, which is really interesting because that's a twin-stick shooter roguelike now, which I'm not.
It looks quite interesting.
Stylistically, it's really, really cool looking. It's got a great soundtrack. The roguelike mode, at first I was like, hooray, roguelikes. Roguelikes are great for YouTube. I will do lots of this. Now, I've made one video of it, which will be out tonight. But a little bit of me is thinking, this is probably not going to make the most interesting roguelike, because I'm not sure how much replayability there is in it, because mechanically, to begin with, it's already reasonably complex. Normally, you'd sort of be relying on picking up new mechanics, new interesting randomized elements and things within a roguelike, but all of the upgrades in it are just passives. It's like, okay, one type of bullet now shoots faster, another type of bullet does more damage, now you move a little bit faster. They're also just percentage stat upgrades, and if I go back and were to, say, make a second video on it, chances are it would not be entirely dissimilar to the first. The first level is going to play out much the same as the first level played out last time. The first boss is going to be identical. I'm not going to have any interesting new weapons or equipment to go with. It's just I'm going to have the same 4 shots that the basic ship already has. You're already shooting the same 4 bullets. I'm not going to get anything different. The difference is I might get... one of my shots might be a little bit more powerful, but there's nothing visually different about it. There's nothing mechanically different about it. So... whilst, twin-stick shooter roguelike, I'm all in favour of that. That's a really cool idea. That actually makes the third roguelike shoot-'em-up that's come out this year, which I'm okay with as a genre. I like that genre, but I don't think this one has quite as much replayability as the other two. The others obviously being a Roche Fusion, which is awesome. And the other one actually is out on Steam next week, is Dandy, which... it's a really good, it's a really good game, but it's just, unless he's tweaked it in the last month or so since I did my review of it, because I think he literally only approached me to do a review on it, which was really weird. He was like, I finished the game, do you want to take a look at it? We're not going to be out on Steam for like another month or so yet. So I was like, okay, but I can't say I was terribly positive on it, just because it was too difficult. It was just like, even really early on in the game, there's like lots of really challenging enemies, and you just end up occasionally, you got like, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 health, but you're just occasionally taking the stray shots from difficult enemies. It's really difficult to make much progress, like, at all. It's very rare I made it even to the second level, let alone through the second level. But mechanically, it's super interesting. I just wish I wish he'd kind of sort of developed a bit of a difficulty curve, sort of ramped it up to something more challenging. If you've got like 7 levels, make the first couple reasonably easily, and then kill me around level 6 or 7, so that I've got something to work up to. That's kind of, curve your difficulty, please, sir. Please do that.
Although it looks like it would give you a seizure.
It's trippy as balls.
Yeah. So
wait, which one are we talking about?
Pardon?
Which one are we talking about? Zenzi Zenzik or Dandy there?
No, Zenzi Zenzik.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, they're both trippy as balls, but yeah, Zenzi Zenzik. Yeah, that seems like it could possibly give you a seizure. Yeah, I could go with that. The other shoot-'em-up I've been playing... yeah, I probably will do a review of this one tomorrow, maybe? Galicide, which is out today, in fact, on Steam. That is match 3 meets a shoot-'em-up, which is really weird.
What?
Yeah, there's just like massive... It's a fairly slow-moving one, There's just like, you fly really slowly and there's just this big wall of blocks moves towards you in different coloured chunks. And by killing enemies, you get different pieces of scrap metal, and you can fire the scrap metal at the wall, and by matching the colours up, it removes chunks of the wall and clears your path so you can make progress through the level.
Oh, okay.
And I think up until today, one of my biggest concerns was, well, firstly, there's only 3 levels, actually. That's kind of a bit of an issue with it. There's like not actually a lot of content in terms of the main core of the game. There's a bunch of puzzle mode stuff, but that's just literally just like match 3 as a puzzle. It might as well be Candy Crush, that bit.
Although it looks quite interesting as a game mechanic to kill the enemies and then make your way through that mazy-like structure.
I mean, what I would have really liked to have seen was them to do something interesting with the bosses. The third boss on the when you get to the 3rd level, the boss on that level, that actually does use the mechanics of the match 3. I was like, it would be really interesting to mix the match 3 mechanics with the actual combat of fighting a big bad enemy. They do that on the 3rd fight, but some of the early bosses, they're just like, shoot it until it dies and dodge all its bullets. It might as well just be any generic bullet hell shooter, which is like, you could have done something interesting here. So I'm kind of relieved that they did on the 3rd fight, but it would have been nice to see a variety of fights that kind of use those mechanics in an interesting way. In this one, the 3rd fight, when you get to it, it's like you cannot damage him with ordinary bullets, so you can just keep shooting and just health does not go down. But there are lots of little enemies that spawn alongside it, and when you destroy them, they drop scrap. So if you pick the scrap up and throw it at the boss just kind of eats it, I think. And then if it eats 3 of the same colour, they explode, and it deals damage to the boss, which is a really neat little idea. I kind of dig that. I would have liked to have seen more of that, though. It's a cool idea, I just don't think they explored it as thoroughly as it could have been. Just more of it would have been just fantastic. So yeah, that's Galaside. And I got sent another level for Party Hard, which is out on the 25th of August, and it still looks amazing, and they've added a lot of new content to it, and yay, can't wait for that.
This is the one where you kill people at a party.
Yeah, it's a game about a party that's keeping you awake at 3 a.m, so you decide to put on your hockey mask and go stab everyone. Because why wouldn't you?
What?
They're being really obnoxious at 3 a.m. I can entirely relate to this man.
Oh, wow.
But I get the impression, because the demo build that they sent me is literally just the 1st level, I think. So it shows you the cutscene at the end of the 1st level. It just seems like it seems like most of the game's narrative, such as it is just like a bunch of really convoluted reasons to go to other parties throughout the night. So it's like you walk out of the party having murdered everybody, and you see a truck pulled up with lots of bikers and a police car following them down the street. So I guess you decide to follow them to go to a biker party or something.
Well,
like no
you
rhyme
need
or reason
new
to it.
victims, so that is totally reasonable.
I wouldn't mind, but the whole premise here is that it's the party next door wasn't letting you sleep. I mean, how many parties are there nearby? I mean, surely they're not near enough that they're causing a problem as well. I don't know. Either way, it's an excuse to stab people, and it's awesome. There was a logic loop that I kind of exploited last time, and it felt a bit broken last time I looked at it, and this time it seems to work pretty effectively. Is if the police come to arrest you, there's like secret passageways in the building that you can take to avoid the police. And last time I played it, you kind of, if you went back and forth through the passageway long enough, because the police don't know where the passageway is, but they kind of know where you are at all times, you could just kind of kite the police back and forth through the building over and over and over again, and eventually they got bored and wandered off. And I think this time the police just literally say something like, fuck it, it's not worth it, and walk off and drive. The moment you go through the tunnel the first time, they're just like, fuck it, I've lost him, never mind, I'm going home. It's like, okay, fine. But if you do that, there is a man a man dressed in red with blue dungarees pops out of the toilet and goes and barricades it up and then disappears back down the toilet. It might be a reference to something, I think.
Okay.
It's Mario. Mario comes out of the toilet because he's a plumber.
Okay.
Although why the plumber is going to barricade a secret passageway, I don't know, but either way, yeah, it's Mario.
Okay.
There's also, in the first level, there was a guy at a computer, which I did not get this, but later I found out that apparently that's supposed to be PewDiePie.
Oh,
If I'd known that,
okay.
I would have stabbed him first, but hey.
Oh.
Oh well, I shall stab him first next time. So, yeah, looking very much forward to that on August 25th. That's going to be good.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Meroka is looking forward to stabbing random strangers and PewDiePie.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Now we've run very, very long on the first half. I may point the finger of blame at a man who ranted for too long, but
No.
either way,
no.
we shall
Yeah.
go to a
By the way,
break.
Blame it
I
on me.
just have found something out. Pastaboy has over double my subscriber count, so if anyone's to blame, it's him.
Yeah,
Okay, good to know.
I babbled along quite long about my games, that is true.
He has the crazy fan
I-
girls.
I have only one crazy fangirl.
Muntaya.
Yeah.
Hello, Vertimita Montea, who's probably
I
watching this.
don't... Yeah, she might. I have no idea.
Hi,
She's
Muntaya.
commented a few times on the podcast, I think.
Ooh,
so I think
yes.
she's-
Ah, okay.
That's exciting.
I think she is.
What did she say?
I can't remember. Or she may have just liked it. I might have just got the like notification or something.
Aw,
I just reckon.
that's so
I just remember her name in regard to
Aw.
the podcast. At any rate, hello, fans. We're going to go to a break. We'll see you in a moment.
Bye. But Mash Podcast is back.
Welcome back to the Button Mash Podcast. We have some gaming news for you to talk about this week. Which, actually, for once, is actually fairly reasonably noteworthy. No barrel scraping for us this week.
Yay.
Yay. So first off, the Electronic Sports League, one of the world's foremost professional gaming organizations, is going to be implementing basically anti-doping rules now. There was some interview with a professional Counter-Strike Go player recently that was like, yeah, pretty much everyone on the team's just been using Adderall the whole time. So now that's kind of, everybody's looking at that like, that's essentially... If we're treating esports as being proper sports these days, and we're kind of trying to do that, that's essentially performance-enhancing drugs. So
Pretty much, yes. But the problem there is as well, where do they stop? Will energy drinks count as performance enhancing? Or even coffee, on that note?
That's true. I don't really know where you draw the line on that. I haven't heard many people really complaining about that to any great extent, to be quite honest.
I
but-
think the ADHD medication, sure
Yeah.
thing, because it is well known to enhance your performance, even with like exams and so on and so forth, that students are taking it. But if you go down to it, I think in is it cycling? Caffeine is forbidden because
is it
it's
actually?
performance. I think so. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I've heard that they are testing for caffeine as well.
Well, I suppose that sets a fairly reasonable precedent then. If there are other sports that ban the use of caffeine as a performance-enhancing drug, then that seems perfectly reasonable to include it as a performance-enhancing drug in this particular instance. Admittedly, that's going to really hurt a lot of sponsors, because I think a lot of the big sponsors in the gaming world is like energy drinks and things, but hey.
Yep.
So that's not going to go down too well with those guys.
Yeah, but maybe they draw the line there. But even so, there is a difference between drinking an energy drink and taking caffeine pills. So, can't really draw a very straight line.
And also, one thing to mention is that, like, there is a very, very real pressure on these people to succeed. Like, students, in, like, your Harvards or your Yale or whatever, like, they have the big final test coming up, and they gotta pass that test, and it's like, they gotta do it. And, like, they just, they crack under pressure and take Adderall. But, like, in a way, like, this is, I would say it's possibly even worse for the, the great big esports people, etc. Because, like, they're just, young adults who just, like, play video games all day. With just, like, just, like, the great, maybe a great tournament of the life, the great life-changing money that they could win, it could be theirs. And, they have a whole team counting on them, and they have fans cheering them on, and they just, it's just, like, everything, just, like, their whole life is just, like, seems to be riding on this one tournament. And it's just, like, how can they not take out Adderall? Like, as the article said, like, they're providing ways to help with the pressure, but like, the pressure is real and the incentive is real. So, like, yeah.
I can't imagine anybody would think that wasn't the case, to be quite honest. Yeah, the sheer amount of money at stake in a lot of these tournaments.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it wasn't illegal. And there are no doping rules, which is why they are introducing the doping policy after all.
Not just like money or whatever. Like, like it's not just like a greed thing. It's like, you have teammates counting on you and you have a reputation at stake. Like, it is like, your whole identity. Like, when your entire identity as a person revolves around being the best at this game, like, if you're not the best at that game, it's like, what does that do for you? Like, it's more than just money.
And there again, the parallels can be drawn to any other sports. Like if you are basically competing to be the best in the world at what you do, there is a lot of pressure to succeed. Whether that be a traditional sport or an esports, the pressure is much the same, and you can understand, why people would do it.
I think it will take a toll, though, from the bodies of the persons taking the Adderall or whatever they are taking. So, in about 20 years or so, I think they will suffer the consequences.
Is that true?
I don't know, but I can think, because that is basically a medication for a psychological, not disease,
it's used to treat ADHD, yeah.
Yeah, and it can't be really healthy to take it when you don't have ADHD.
The thing is, as I understand it, as you say, like within the education system, a lot of people do, because certainly within America, it's fairly widely prescribed.
Yeah, same in Germany as well. So, we have people taking it, and it's becoming more and more common, and some physicians actually warn people on taking that.
I mean, it's like any drug, really. It's like you give
yes.
Like it's like you you give a short-term boost to yourself in exchange for like a long-term detriment. Like that's the same for any drugs, regardless of like if the long-term detriment is like big or not or whatever.
It actually counts for caffeine as well. Caffeine is some sort of drug after all. I had one exam. I didn't take Adderall or anything like it. It was just caffeine, but I already drank like 1 liter of coffee that day. Strong coffee, that is. Then I had an energy drink before I drove to the exam. And at the exam, I had 2 iced coffee espressos, so even more caffeine. And, in the exam, I was pretty paranoid and looked around and got a nosebleed afterwards. But I was concentrated as hell and even were the best of my semester. But I won't do that ever again.
Can you imagine, like,
was
giving me
pretty
that
much.
Like, wow.
Yeah, so it was loads and loads of caffeine I ingested that day, and since then I take a little bit less of caffeine and coffee.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that was a healthy amount by any standards.
No, it wasn't very healthy. Still, it might have been less caffeine than some people are actually eating, drinking, or whatever.
Yeah, I've never had coffee myself.
But still, for me, it was an amount that might have been not so healthy after all.
Mm-hmm. But I think, if nothing else, this is, on the whole, I think a step forward towards recognizing gaming and esports as a whole as a legitimate thing. There's still obviously a lot of people still very much against it, so... Yep. These steps kind of push forward. I mean, it very much kind of amused me in that first instance that that original interview that sparked all this off. That was like, yeah, everyone took Adderall. It was like, it's pretty obvious that we did. Yeah, it was like, this is really casual. It's just that widespread at this point. It's like, yeah, everyone was on it. So it sounds like it needs cracking down on.
There was a bit of a controversy in Hearthstone this past week, where to be seeded for a tournament, the pro players were supposed to compete, sort of privately against themselves, and the winners of that would be seated in the tournament, and they were, this was an off-stream match, so there was no real proof, people were asking for screenshots or whatever, but like for the most part, like the 12 people there, except for like most of them or almost all of them, just did this match fixing thing just quietly, which a lot of people were okay with it because in a way it's just like they were expected to spend hours playing matches that ultimately had very little impact in the long run. But on the other hand, like almost everyone did it, and almost everyone participated in what is match fixing. So it's just interesting.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So, moving forward in the world of gaming there. Speaking of moving forward, that's an awful segue. Speedrunning is happening. Speedrunning is a thing. Summer Games Done Quick is on this week, so if you're a fan of speedrunning, there will be much speedrunning done, with donations to raise money for Doctors Without Borders. Which is obviously a good cause. Any of you guys into speedrunning?
Will they speedrun speedrunners?
I would kind of hope so, actually. I don't know whether they will. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that Tiny Builds are the guys sponsoring it, so probably. Tiny Build are speedrunners, aren't they?
I've watched some of Brian the streaming Terraria speedruns, but that's about it for me.
Although even with the name speedrunners, I was like, I'm not sure how you speedrun it, given that it's a competitive game and not just sort of a single player game to do quickly. In spite of the name, it's kind of doesn't fit the bill for normal speedrunning.
I mean, the thing about speedrunners though is that when you think about it, like besides the items, there's no actual way to like interact with the other players. Like it is like you could turn off items. And then it just becomes a solo game where you just happen to be able to see other players, Like, because it's not like you have the ability to, like, really, like, interact with those people except through the items. It's just, like, in a way, it is just, like, trying to find the way to speedrun that level perfectly. Mm-hmm. And then you just have some items just for flavor, in a way, yeah.
I was also the one thing that's most amusing about all this is that Sonic Boom is so broken that they can like do it crazy fast. There's normally a lot of speedrunning revolves around finding like obscure exploits and things that wouldn't normally come up in the course of gaming, but I don't think they had to look terribly hard to find them within Sonic Boom.
Do tell.
Google Sonic Boom speedrun. I'm sure you'll find lots of things on it. It has been doing the rounds today.
Okay.
You'll find Sonic Boom speedrun. So yay, speedrunning. It's not my cup of tea normally, but it can be entertaining. I don't know if they're doing Necrodancer. Necrodancer is one that always interests me for speedruns. I saw someone do a Bard speedrun on Necrodancer in like under 2 minutes, which was just ludicrous. That's like all 4 sections of the game and bosses and all the floors and everything. Basically, the path for that was just look for the trapdoors and just run straight for the trapdoors every single floor. Which is just insane.
Okay.
Because that just lets you skip straight to the next floor without doing the boss properly. It's like, next floor, next floor, next floor, 12 times. That was silly. Anyway, let's do some gaming releases then, since we're kind of behind schedule this week. I think it seems worth moving on to the gaming releases. So,
alrighty.
Unless you guys have any more speedrun story to talk about.
I mean, I could tell a story about how much I hate pasta.
That's not relevant to the current proceedings.
We pretty much covered that already pretty extensively.
Well, I mean, I could just be like how much I really, 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 just sort of to further emphasize it,
Let's just do new releases.
I think it's been emphasized enough. Let's do new releases. First up, we have Icy on PC, which I'm pretty sure we looked at last week. Has this been pushed back? This is a survival thing in a world that's perpetual winter, and you must make decisions for survival. And I compared it a little bit to Discourse, which is probably not necessarily the right choice to compare it to, but it's supposed to be a very narrative-driven thing. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we looked at that last week. We have The Swindle, which I think only just popped up on my radar earlier today, because I think Blitzkrieg has been playing this, and that was like, what is that? It's a physics-based platformer about stealing money from places. And it is from the same guys who did Been There, Done That and Time Gentlemen Please, which are 2 games which I'm aware have been in my Steam library for a very long time and I've never played. So, yeah. So that is out on a lot of platforms. So if you want it, you probably have a platform you can play that on. We have The Legend of K Anniversary. Is a HD remastering of, I guess, like a third-person character platformer that I've never heard of. Does anyone know the original one for this?
No.
No, never
No.
heard of the game, to be honest.
No, neither have I. So clearly it's got enough of a fan base that somebody wanted a remastering of it, but this kind of feels like it falls into the same category as... There was at one point, everyone was kind of like, me too, with the character platformer stuff, and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, I know, is one that springs to mind in that regard. Which was like, EA at that point were like, hey, we should have our own Mario, let's make Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Didn't work. This feels like that would be something similar. It is about some sort of cat person who will go on a third-person platforming adventure.
Kittens!
Kittens indeed! We have Lost Dimension for the PS3 and Vita. It's a sci-fi RPG where a team of psychics enter a mysterious tower to stop the End, a dangerous terrorist who threatens to destroy the world. It looks quite anime, which is typical of the Vita's offerings these days, to be fair. So, more animes for the Vita. If you like your animes, Vita is the platform to be on.
Yay, animes!
World of Tanks for the Xbone, which is free-to-play stuff on the console. Not often you see that.
That's something very new.
I guess they're kind of starting to embrace that kind of dealio, so...
Although I think that World of Tanks can be a bit pay-to-win, if I heard that correctly.
I don't know nearly enough about it to really make much of a call on that one.
Now, I think one from Team Tuxedo, or one or two from Team Tuxedo, are quite involved with World of Battleships and maybe even World of Tanks. I think you can buy certain tanks and get an advantage, but you can play it entirely for free.
Okay, fair enough. For the Vita, we have BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma Extend, which is a fighting game about the animes. Because it's on the Vita, obviously. PS4, Sword Art Online Re-Hollow Fragment. Which is... I don't know much about Sword Art Online.
Oh, it's an actual anime, isn't it? I've seen it.
It is. I think it's an anime that's based on an MMO or something?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and if you die in that MMO, you die in real life.
Right. I think I've heard someone compare Skyforge, which I've been playing at the minute, to it a lot, so I don't know. Maybe it sounds like, actually, you know, anime based on MMO probably sounds like the sort of thing I should watch, to be quite honest. Sounds like it would appeal to me. But this is an action RPG based on that particular franchise. For PS4 is N++, which is... Oh, this will be the one after... Yeah, after... N+ is the one I played, which is an entertaining little game. It's a complex, challenging, multiplayer platforming thing about a little ninja dude who runs around various geometric environments. It's really simple, but really quite charming and challenging and satisfying to play. So, I imagine this will be something not entirely dissimilar. So, after the in-between freeware game NV 2.0, N++ is the full-on sequel to N+. So that's that. We have King's Quest, which is this is actually the Sierra franchise, isn't it? Huh.
Is this the one with, like, it's got, like, an all-star cast in it? Voice acting?
I don't know, it might do. I'm not sure. It's out on Steam. I clocked it on Steam earlier today as well.
I can't remember who's in it, but I remember being quite impressed.
Okay. This is, yeah, it's a 5-part episodic thing that'll be going on through into next year. I think it's much the same. I think much the same as the old Sierra stuff was, but modern style and graphics and things, more up to date. Although if it's anything like what I'm familiar with of the Sierra games, most of it will be bullshit. Utter bullshit, like killing you for no good reason. But yeah, I've no idea how it stacks up. I imagine a lot of fans of the old Sierra stuff will probably won't be having a look at this. But I don't know. Sierra was never anything that I really got into. It's kind of a bit before my time for the most part, really. So there you go. Old schooly point and click things. Right. I got Abyss Odyssey Extended Dream Edition for the PS4.
I think they just released the Apes Odyssey New and Tasty like a few months ago.
This is not the same franchise.
Oh, okay. So it's really Abyss.
Abyss
not
Odyssey.
Ape. Okay.
Abyss Odyssey. Yeah. Did
My
I
bad.
did I say Abe's Odyssey or what?
I
I
just understood Abyss and
Oh right.
and I thought you meant ape, and yeah, I got the franchises.
I apologize.
Abe Lincoln?
No.
Aw. I like Abe Lincoln. He's an American hero.
But he did not star in a platform game, so.
I'm sure there was a platform game starring Abe Lincoln out there
Yes.
Yeah,
somewhere.
probably.
Okay, yeah, Rule 30 whatever on video games. I'm sure there is a platform game starring Abe Lincoln out there, probably.
Yay,
yes.
Abe Lincoln! A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Is that the entire premise of the game?
7 years ago!
It's a platform game about dividing houses. No?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Well, Abyss Odyssey, but not Abe's Odyssey, is a 2D platformer adventure game. It's kind of like a fighting game and got some roguelike stuff in there. I think that this has been on PC for a while and Steam keeps recommending it to me. I don't know, it seems to think I really, really want it or something. It does look pretty, it does sound mildly interesting, but it's never sounded interesting enough for me to go out and actually buy the damn thing.
Ooh,
be interesting.
Chilean mythology.
I'm not familiar enough with Chilean mythology to really...
Well, that's why we played, so you can become familiar. That's cool.
Okay, well...
Chilean mythology sounds interesting. Yay. Joy.
Well, there you go. If you want that, that will now be on your PS4 as well. Velocibox for the PS4 is also something that's been on PC for a while. You are a cube and you navigate a tunnel that is full of obstacles. It's an endless runner, isn't it? Basically. Yes, you're a cube falling down an endless tunnel and things will get in your way. Call me crazy, I feel like I've seen that kind of thing before. And Zeo Drifter for the Wii U is a Metroidvania-style sci-fi adventure from Renegade Kid. Which looks pixel arty. Very pixel arty. Actually, if that's the main character, I think they're drawing very heavily... Actually, it looks like they're drawing very heavily on Metroid inspirations behind that. Sort of power armory kind of character crawling through caverns and things. Yay, Metroid.
Opinions, we have them.
Yay, Metroid is a strong opinion, I know. I apologize for being so opinionated.
No, I was talking about how the rest of us have been quiet and thus not having the
Oh,
opinions.
right, yeah.
July 28th, a fine day to be crowned as King of Dragon Pass.
Sure, let's do that. That is a thing that is out, and that is a thing that very, very much highlights my issue with Steam's sorting system and data system, because that is the official... That entire line of dialogue is its available date. Its release date. Find it...
What?
They put their release date as a fine day to be crowned as King of Dragon Pass. Which is... I really wish Steam would just get that in order, because it's just...
And it doesn't even,
obnoxious.
it doesn't even fit in, the box.
It does not. It does not. This appears to be a saga of conflict, mythology, and community. It is a mix of RPG, strategy, and storytelling. I have no idea what this is. It just seems to be everything. There is a picture of a man who is naked running away from people.
Hi, naked man. Ooh, you can end the betrothal.
And you can insist that they marry you, apparently, which sounds like this sounds like it's getting a bit biblical.
No,
Naked people insisting that people marry them.
Other. Will you marry me, Pasta?
No.
As long as you don't insist that he marry you, I think we can stray away from biblical territory. So that seems to be a... I would say it seems like it's... In terms of delivery, not dissimilar to like a choose-your-own-adventure novel kind of thing. There's lots of just pages of dialogue and pictures and pick an option, but then there's like more interfaces and stuff, so it's more complex than that, but yeah. And there are people with duck masks. They are ducks. I don't know what that's about.
Duck. Really?
That's a strange looking game.
It looks like, I guess it looks like it's all like a text thing.
It is, like I said, as I was saying, it's mostly a kind of a choose-your-own-adventure novel kind of dealio.
Yeah.
We have our Colonial Conquest. Colonial Conquest, which is a grand strategy of the greatest empire, the British Empire.
And then when it was when the greatest empire was thrown down by a bunch of backwoods rebels,
which they are to until the day today.
Well, that depends on the outcome of the game. You should obviously play the valiant British forces fighting for dominance over the entire world.
No, America. Play as America.
For tea and freedom. Tea and
America.
freedom in Britain. For king and queen. Queen and country. Something like that.
Or tea and bacon. Actual bacon.
Burning light. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam.
Tulkas, this is not your moment.
Whose bright stripes and bright
This is not... No.
Through the past.
Don't have an empire. You can't do
territory.
this.
What so proudly we was, words so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in.
Okay,
what?
Stop now, please. Please stop.
Tulkas.
Tulkas, please stop. Please stop. You don't have an empire. You're not allowed to sing unless you have an empire.
We do have an empire.
You don't have an empire.
Yes, we do. We have like Guam and Puerto Rico and American
Our
imperial holdings.
You come back when you own Australia. Then you can sing.
Well, you don't own Australia either, so you can't.
Yeah, we do. We have our flag on their flag. That's how you establish dominance over someone.
Yep.
You put your flag on their flag. Then you
own
them.
have our flag.
Even the Dutch had an empire. Well, even the Germans had empires, but one of them went entirely wrong. But yeah, the US never had an empire.
Yes, we do. We do.
No.
It's the American Empire.
There is no such thing as the American Empire.
The Empire. It's American. Yeah. What is American Samoa if not an imperial holding?
It's a holding,
it's
not an empire.
extraterritoriality. Look it up. It's like and Guam and Puerto Rico, like all of them. You know, it's.
Regardless, it features not in this game. This is about the best empire, the British Empire. It's grand strategy.
Lies. All lies.
Alright, well, moving on to something that's not lies.
I'm going to sing another
today,
American
we have
national
boneless...
anthem.
No. Boneless zombie. We're talking about boneless zombie.
How would that actually work?
The zombie does not have any bones, and you can stretch him, and he is rubbery, and it looks fucking awful.
I think the game idea might be interesting, stretching a zombie and then getting him through.
I think the premise is that your protagonist here, said titular zombie, is elasticated and you can stretch him and fire him through various physics-based platformy puzzles. And yeah, he's boneless. And you can collect bones through the levels, so presumably he will regain his bones by the end of it. I don't know.
or the game gets harder every level because you have bones now and can't stretch that far.
Just by the end of the game, he just has to walk. It's like, you can't stretch him anymore. He's just going to walk by the end of it.
It will be the walking zombie then. Walking Dead.
Dun dun dun.
This looks like maybe it's locked like a Quap, but a platformer.
Oh god, I can't imagine anything worse. Quap was already a platformer. It had that jump in the middle. Nobody ever did it, but it had the jump. Anyway, Keen, or we discussed this before we started. I don't think we ever came to any conclusion about what the hell this thing is called. Kyn, Kyn. Something about Vikings.
Ooh, Viking mythology.
It is party-based Viking mythological things, yes.
I wonder if it features the legend of Sigurd and the Nibelungenlied. I mean, that's sort of German, but it's also sort of Viking.
It's a Germanic.
See, Germanic. See, Germanic.
Yeah, not an entirely German mythology.
Yeah. You see, the German people they have fallen.
Well, it appears to involve people throwing fireballs and ice spikes and stuff, so I'm pretty sure that's true to the original mythologies.
Like
Sounds
the ice spike biome in Minecraft and the fireball card in Hearthstone?
Exactly like both.
Okay,
of
so
those.
Kin is basically Hearthstone plus Minecraft.
Yep,
confirmed.
Got it. I have the Viceroy, which is... When I click on it, it actually doesn't load the page. That was really weird.
Is it pronounced Viceroy? I thought it was pronounced Viceroy.
Yeah, I had the same issue with Steam.
The Viceroy.
I thought it was a thing with my country.
I opened the page twice and it opened the second time. It's really weird. I thought it was Viceroy. Will,
Right.
we defer to you. Will, how do you pronounce this?
I believe it's Viceroy.
Oh.
You see, the one time when I don't expect Will to have my back, he has my back.
It's space-based 4X. Space-based turn-based 4X. Which...
So a bit like Galactic Civilizations.
Yeah, a little bit like Galactic Civilization, a bit like Master of Orion, that kind of jam, yeah.
Ah, okay.
And I always look at these things and go, ooh, I liked Master of Orion, I should play this. And I would never get into it, I'm quite sure. It says it has complex economies, which... I am not an economist.
I don't know, I tried to get into Galactic Civilizations because I liked Civilization 5, but it was so complex that I couldn't get into it.
I just like games where I can build a Death Star and blow up planets. Is that all? Is that too much to ask for in life?
No, that is totally not insane, and it's like going to other people's houses and just stabbing them at their party.
Good. I'm glad.
I have 430 hours in Civ 5 to there.
Cool. Another star is a thing. Is it? Oh, I thought that was early access. No, it's a console style RPG. It's got the border that makes it look like it's in a CRT TV that I fucking hate, frankly. But it does indeed look like a really, really old school RPG.
Yeah.
Which you can play a bajillion of in RPG Maker. There are a bajillion RPG Maker titles out there.
But I think they are a little bit of a trend right now that they make some sort of retro RPGs.
I don't think I've seen too many of them outside of, like I say, it's like, because RPG Maker's so accessible, I think there's a lot of people doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Clearly they're going for the style even more so than that, like I say, with the sort of the CRT kind of effects. They kind of really wanting you to reminisce hard here or something.
I like reminiscing.
Like I say, with the existence of RPG Maker, that genre seems to be like fairly saturated at this point, so it's kind of probably fairly hard to stand out in it, and it doesn't look anything particularly exciting compared to all the others. From there we have... Oh, Life is Strange Episode 4's out in 3 hours?
Huzzah!
So, go on beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, I did know just before we started, a Steam updated and was like, hey, there's an update for Life is Strange. And I was like, there is? Install that. And it was like less than 90 meg. I was like, that wasn't the thing.
Soon.
I think that's like the pre-patch before the big patch. That's the thing that prepares the game to accept the patch or something. I don't know. Either way, yeah, soon indeed.
Too soon! You have awakened me too soon! Life is Strange.
Yes. Also, not going to be found on your Steam list, but I am going to be jumping on this, I think, tying into something we mentioned earlier, is Yahtzee Crowshaw's The Consuming Shadow is out tomorrow as well. Bet you didn't know that one. It is the 28th of July, which is a important date within the Yahtzee-verse, which is the kind of the term for all of his games, because they all kind of weirdly tie into the same kind of universe. So yeah, the July 28th is the important date, so he's using it as a game launch day, so one of those is out tomorrow. It's supposed to be a roguelike kind of thing, which is not like any of the other games he's done in the same universe, which is kind of weird, so I'm intrigued to see what that's going to be like. I very much am. It does not look graphically particularly high fidelity, but nonetheless, I'm intrigued to see what it's got going on. Moving back to our Steam list, I just threw that in there because it's PC gaming. We got Absolute Drift. Is a game about drifting, surprisingly enough.
Yep. I think it was top down as well, right?
Yeah, it's a top-down kind of racing thing, a really super minimalistic environment.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of environment that sort of scatters and explodes as you hit it.
Oh, perfect.
Which looks entertaining if you're into cars, I suspect. I am not terribly into cars, so yeah.
It has a design thing.
It has a design thing.
It is
Would you like to elaborate?
minimalistic-ish. Well, it's like minimalist in a way, maybe.
I did say it was minimalist. Yeah, it's just like almost entirely white with just like red for all the obstacles. It's like super basic. I mean, I like that style. There's a lot of games that kind of use that style really well. I do like that kind of style of games, but
The game has a design, everybody.
it has an aesthetic. We also have East Tower Koronai, which is visual novel, anime bullshit, dating simulator, all of the above, probably. It is tagged on Steam as Otome, which I think is your female protagonist dating boys, in case you needed that particular clarification. I hope I'm right on that, otherwise I may get angry comments from people. I don't think we have a big enough audience that I'm going to encompass the hardcore visual novel fans.
No, I didn't think so.
We have Super Space Meltdown, which is a 2D dungeon crawler in space. Humanity's largest space station is under attack by mysterious alien invaders. You are Sergeant Alex Cutter, sent into deep space on a mission to save the day and annihilate the threat, but there's a catch. It doesn't tell you what the catch is. There is a catch, though. The aliens have made the ship go into meltdown. You've got 60 seconds to complete the room before the reactor melts down and causes time to loop back on in itself, taking you back to the beginning of the game. That's interesting. Okay. I like time travel. I wouldn't mind taking a look at that. Could be interesting. Hooray for time travel.
And there are mysteries. There are a lot of the persistent world and mysteries to delve into. There are plot twists, apparently.
I'm sure there are. And finally, not last but by a long margin, absolutely not least, some point before the end, I mean, it's still flagged on Steam as a July release date, and, you know, but this time next week we will be into August, so I can only presume it's going to be out this week. It has to be. It absolutely has to be. It's Reverse Side.
Well, we've been waiting for this for a long time now, considering that they did push it back months ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's been July for a while, and they haven't moved that date, so I can only presume it's solid and accurate.
If, recent history is anything to go by.
We shall see about that one, I suppose. But I am intrigued, nonetheless. Just see what comes of that.
Yeah, there was a new demo that we tried out last week. It didn't get very far in it, but...
Oh, I didn't. I forgot to take a look at that. I'll have to do that now. Need to do that.
I couldn't persevere to find out what the hell I was supposed to be doing, but I will try again.
Well, interesting. That's really quite impressive. Because there is a post on their forums that says it was updated on the 28th of July, which is mostly impressive because it's the 27th of July today.
Oh, wow.
Time travel.
Yep, they're going for that theme quite literally.
Yeah, I think they genuinely are aiming for that date. Updated 28th of July, release date, full version of the game, full version 3107-2015. Dun dun dun.
Oh, wow.
Plot twist.
Oh, don't tease us, reverse side.
But it's on the forums. That means it's true.
My heart can't take it anymore.
31st of July, 2015, reverse side. You know it to be true. Search your feelings. It's gonna happen.
Watch it, the whole game will be in Russian.
Oh, my.
We'll load it up and the whole thing, dialogue, subtitles, any kind of interface, it'll all be in Russian.
And you will learn Russian
And I
just
will
to play
learn
the
Russian
game.
to play the game.
Yes. There we go. That's I think on that bombshell, that brings us to the end. That'll be really interesting to see what happens there.
Yes.
So, before we go, it falls to us to ask our guests to plug their stuff that they do. So, Mr. Pastafarian, please tell the good people what you do and where people can find it.
So I do mostly Let's Plays on YouTube. Some Minecraft, some Last Word, RPG Maker game. Recently, Sentinels of the Multiverse, the one I've talked earlier about. And you can find me on the YouTubes, which is youtube.com/thepastafarian42.
Cool. Tulkas, what'd you do? Where is it?
So basically, I mean, what I do is basically my entire channel is dedicated to saying malicious things about the Pastafarian. So if you like to listen to malicious things being said about the Pastafarian, then you can find me at youtube.com/TulkasTheValiant, and you can help me by telling me some new insults to say to him.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Cool. And for us, you can find I don't know, Will. What do we do? We do stuff.
We do Facebook.
We do the Facebook. Yeah, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/buttonmash.
We also do the Twitters.
We do the Twitters at twitter.com/button_mash_UK.
We have our own website.
We do have our own website. There's not much you'd want to see on it, but it's there, and you can find it at button-mash.net.
And you can also find our Steam curation page.
Our Steam curation page is bit.ly/bmsteam.
And to support this fine gentleman, Meroka, you can go to his Patreon page at
patreon.com/buttonmash, and I do appreciate how much more enthusiastic you are about that than Michael is. And we might occasionally stream on Twitch, which is a thing I would like to get into the habit of doing at twitch.tv/button_mash.
Excellent.
Yay, Michael! Oh, I hope that Michael is back next week. It's so sad having to replace him with pasta.
Well, thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Well, Pasta doesn't even have a thing dedicated to him, the hashtag Team Suicide Den, and Michael does.
Well, basically what you're asking for there is for someone to go into there and build a giant flying spaghetti monster in the middle of the room.
Yes, that is basically what he's asking
do that.
for.
Well, the
Oh,
thing
yes,
is
it
that
is.
Well, see, the thing is, though, Meroka, is that the entrance to the hashtag Teen Suicide Den is hidden, so we won't be able to find it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
well,
that.
it is on video.
Oh, but it's still hidden.
You'll never find it.
Oh, I will never find it. I can dig in the ground.
Anyway, I think that's just about enough for this week. So, thank you for joining us, Pasta.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Tulkas.
Yay!
Thank you for-
Rainbows!
Rainbows indeed. And thank you for joining us as always, Will.
Thank you.
And thank you, the viewers at home, for bearing with us for 2 hours of garbage. And we'll see you next time.
Puppy love!
Bye.
Cheery bye.